Close 16 sections of underwater oil and gas pipelines in the Straits of Mackinac were found unsupported on the Great Lakes bottom during 2003 inspections, spans of 140 feet or longer, well beyond state requirements for mooring the pipe. Keith Matheny, Detroit, Free Press. Mackinac Island. The aging Line 5 oil pipelines crossing the Straits of Mackinac are arguably the greatest environmental threat facing the state of Michigan. How to reduce the threat of a catastrophic spill is one of the thorniest issues being grappled with by state leaders, including Gov. Rick Snyder and Attorney General Bill Chouette. But Line 5 is nowhere to be found on the agenda of the Detroit Regional Chamber's Mackinac Policy Conference that begins Tuesday, where both Snyder and Chouette will be in attendance. They and nearly all of the 1,700 attendees will cross the sparkling straits by ferry when they arrive for the four-day conference, and the waters separating Michigan's upper and lower peninsulas will form the backdrop for the photos they take from the porch of the Grand Hotel. Environmentalists and concerned business owners still plan to use the conference attended by Michigan lawmakers and top corporate executives to highlight Line 5 risks and push for a state-ordered shutdown. If they're going to come to Mackinac Island, it should at least be acknowledged that it should be listed on the agenda, said Jim Lively, a spokesman for the Great Lakes Business Network, which was launched last year and has grown to about 100 members concerned about Line 5. Sandy Barua, president and CEO of the Detroit Regional Chamber, said the themes and agenda for the annual conference were determined far in advance by a statewide committee of CEOs. It's hard to rank the environmental challenges Michigan faces among a host of broader business issues the conference tackles, Barua said. We've got the Asian carp issue, we've got the algae issue. Any one of these issues could be hugely detrimental to the quality of life of our state. I'm not in the business of ranking issues, but is Line 5 an important one? Absolutely. Enbridge Energy, a U.S. affiliate of the Canadian oil transport giant Enbridge, which owns and operates Line 5, is a chamber member and one of about 60 corporate sponsors of the conference. Neither of those facts is considered in determining whether any issue is on or off the conference agenda, Barua said. Also on Freep.com, Line 5 oil pipeline in Straits of Mackinac dented by Shiphouse GOP report. Russian internet trolls meddled on Straits of Mackinac oil pipeline, to the Groundwork Center for Resilient Communities, a non-profit agency based in Traverse City, where Lively is program director, is planning a Wednesday morning news conference to release a new study about Line 5, ahead of a late afternoon reception on the island hosted by the Great Lakes Business Network. The network's membership includes Shepler's Ferry, which will transport many of the conference guests, Area Brewers, a real estate company, and the Great Lakes Potato Chip Co. Traverse City, to name a few. Though the Grand Hotel itself is not a member, hotel president Dan Musser wrote a 2016 op-ed in the Free Press that called for an alternative to Line 5 to quickly be put in place. We simply cannot sit by to wait for something to go terribly wrong before we act to protect one of our state's most valuable assets at its most vulnerable point, Musser said in the article. Several incidents have ramped up worries since that article appeared, including a recent incident in which part of Line 5 was dented by a ship's anchor, causing the company to reduce the line's maximum pressure until repairs are completed. Enbridge has raised the anger of state officials over the past year with revelations the company knew a section of the required protective coating on its twin, underwater oil pipelines was damaged in 2014, but did not make state officials aware of it until August 2017. Enbridge also has failed to maintain an adequate spacing of anchor supports holding the pipeline on the strait's bottom, as required in its 1953 easement with the state. And amid a state-mandated review of anchor supports last year, Enbridge disclosed that of 48 anchor supports it had inspected, the majority had adjacent segments of the pipelines with missing protective coating. The state has the power to decommission the pipelines by revoking the easement it granted when Line 5 was installed. Line 5 moves 23 million gallons of oil and natural gas liquids per day through the Upper Peninsula, splitting into twin, underwater pipelines through the Straits, before returning to a single transmission pipeline through the Lower Peninsula and onto a hub in Sarnia, Ontario. Concerned citizens and environmentalists have called for the decommissioning of the 65-year-old Straits pipelines, stating a spill like the one on Enbridge's Line 6B pipeline near the Kalamazoo River in 2010 would devastate the Great Lakes, shoreline and island communities, as well as the state's economy. In recent weeks, Snyder and other officials have appeared supportive of a proposal to create a tunnel beneath the Straits, in which to operate a north-south oil pipeline and remove the lines from contact with the water. But Lively and others says building such a tunnel, expected to cost more than $500 million, would be a huge project that would take years, including required environmental permits. David Holtz, conservation chair of the Michigan chapter of the Sierra Club, said a tunnel wouldn't even get rid of Line 5. What you're asking Michigan to do is leave this dangerous pipeline in the Straits for the next 10 years, and then we'll keep the pipeline there, but we'll put a prophylactic on it and declare it safe, Holtz said. The Sierra Club is part of a coalition of groups called Oil and Water Don't Mix, whose volunteers will be demonstrating against Line 5 at the entrance to Shepler's Ferry in Mackinac City on Tuesday. Brian Duffy, an Enbridge spokesman, said the company will submit a report on June 15 to the state assessing the feasibility of various alternatives, including construction of a tunnel and other options. Enbridge's Line 5 is important to quality of life in Michigan and to the state and regional economy, Duffy said in an email. Contact Paul Egan, 517-372-8660 or pegan@freepress.com. Follow him on Twitter at paulegan4. Reader share the story, https://on.freep.com/2lb6520.